Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And this lecture is targeted to those who have never done prior art search, either using Google Patents or any other databases. And this is primarily focused on searching prior art in patent databases. And I'll be using Google Patents all through this lecture. And if time permits, I'll walk you through the other big databases. Okay, so searching prior art, at least in patent databases, involves surfing through a lot of documents. And usually, search forms the basis of everything, right from filing of patent applications to enforcing patent rights. A good search informs the inventors of the existing prior art and also helps him to navigate through the crowded IP space, which is pretty much analogous to finding a needle in a haystack. A good searcher would always use good set of words to bring search to a manageable level. So that is what I mean by it involves too much time and resources. So the key is how to get down to a manageable search hits from thousands of documents. And I mentioned about the bringing the search to a manageable level. So how do you do that? So it involves identifying search words. Any search, you must be aware of what search words you are planning to use, but most importantly, how do you extract these search words? These are simpler if you're looking for regular search words that you use every day in regular Google searches, such as finding a restaurant name or a cinema hall. But patent search involves looking through the database and using multiple keywords to search the database, wherein there are many closely related inventions. And how you find relevant prior art is a testament to how well you extract and use the search words. Hopefully, by end of this lecture, it helps you to discern or extract the words and search them in the database. So the key is identifying key features of the search words. And this is a sample disclosure, uh, or you can call it, I call it a key features of search words, or you can call it as a problem solution statement. Every patent you see is a solution to an existing problem that is prevalent in the field. And here the key features can be looked at as a problem solution approach. So you have to constantly ask yourself a question: what problem the invention is solving and how it is solving. So that will throw you a lot of information about the search words or the keywords that you have to extract, that you are planning to extract from the discussion. For example, here, let me read out the disclosure. This invention relates to a toothbrush that includes opening and closing cap in the top portion of the head to supply a toothpaste. A rubber or rubber-like compression material is attached on the cap to push the toothpaste towards the bristles. So the question is, you have to ask what problem this disclosure is solving. And of course, this is a trivial problem, but I'm just this is a sample example that you can take a look. So the main problem that this disclosure is trying to solve is a toothbrush with supply of toothpaste for its use. Um, a dispensable toothbrush where the head supplies the toothpaste, and how it supplies the toothpaste are the added features to this disclosure. So the reason why I emphasized on a problem solution approach is that it gives you clarity in what you want to search for. Uh, Key features or unique features in the invention captures the problem solution approach. If you step back, a simple search of toothbrush would yield too many hits. Rather, using these key features would yield meaningful and relevant hits. So what are the key features here? So the key features, which I believe are highlighted here in a white font. So you see that the toothbrush is the context under which you will be searching the invention. And the key features are the inventive features here are opening and closing cap in the top portion of the head. To supply a toothpaste, and a rubber or rubber-like compression material is attached on the cap to push the toothpaste towards the bristles. So whatever that I've highlighted here are the keywords. So with the keywords in hand, how do we go about finding related keywords? So why do we have to look at the related keywords? For example, different jurisdiction might use different words for the same. So it is better to search for related keywords to find the synonyms for the word you're searching for. For example, USPTO, they might be using a totally different word for the word that is used in the Indian Patent Office. So since any search you're running the search for a global database, so it is better that you find the related keywords. And the good place to look for these keywords, you can go to dictionary or thesaurus. And Wikipedia is also good. So sometimes, if you have to look up your technical information, Wikipedia is a good source where you can find out the alternate names or the names that are ideally used in the field. And especially in the field of chemistry, if you're looking for the drug name, the trade name, and the other related names, the IUPAC names are usually listed in the Wikipedia. So it is better to go to these sites to extract other related keywords. So this way, you can broaden the scope of search. It's not just that you are narrowing down the scope of search by using one or two keywords. So let us start the process of identifying the keywords. So as I mentioned before, those related or the inventive features was highlighted there. And so let us go stepwise to extract the related words for the highlighted ones here. Opening and closing cap. For example, if you have to find the related keywords for opening, it could be vent or a window or a door. So these are the related words that can be used in the place of opening. So it is better one uses these alternate words to search. In this context, closing is the best choice, but closes can also be used. But I'll get to the usage of these words when I start explaining this in a particular database. Okay, this is just a snapshot I took from a dictionary. So, for example, I looked up for opening, and there are a wide array of other related words like one can use door, apertures, anything. And same way for closing, finishing, terminating, winding up. But you have to always assume in the context of the invention that you are searching for. So here the context is toothbrush. So the closest for closing is always close or anything that stems from the word close. And for opening, as I just showed in the previous slide, a door, vent, window are the context of or the words that can be used in the context of a toothbrush. Okay, now moving on. So we have identified for opening and closing, and the next keyword that we are looking at is cap and supply. And for setting this invention, let's leave out the top portion of the head because that would be irrelevant in this case. As long as we search for cap, supply, and opening and closing, we'll get closest to the prior art that we are searching for. And the alternate words for cap can be head, lid, and the supply of toothpaste, one could use alternate words such as store or reservoir. Okay, then the next steps are identifying the keywords related to rubber, and a quick search on rubber would yield compression material, elastomer, or rubber. And for pushing, one could always use advanced thrust, charge, or poke. Okay, so this is just a summary of putting together all the keywords that we have extracted using a dictionary or thesaurus. So these are listed here: opening, vent, window, closing, rubber, cap, push, supply. But the key is, having found these keywords, how do you string these keywords together? Uh, that will determine whether you are on a path to finding out the relevant prior. One can do this by use of operators. What are operators? Okay, so this is just a compilation of different operators used across different databases. Um, but for the scope of this lecture, I'm going to focus more on the Google patterns, and if time permits, I'll move on to explain about Packbase, which is paid database. But Google Patterns is a free search tool one can use to search for patent database. In Google Patents, I've listed them different operators. One is a Boolean operator, proximity, and truncation operator. And Boolean operator, as many of you know, they are and or not operator. So when you use AND between two keywords, it shortens the scope of search by combining these two keywords together. And use of OR operator broadens the scope of the search by looking for one or the other. And not excludes the set of keywords from the list you are looking for. Maybe I can show this with a simple example. Just bear with me. I just have to toggle through this. Yeah. Okay, got it. Great. Okay, so let me briefly walk you through the search window that you'll be using on Google Patterns. So when you click on this question mark, I'm just taking a small detour before I explain the operators, how to navigate the Google Patterns database. So when you're not aware or when you're not sure how to go about using Google Patterns, so you click on this question mark, it gives you the it, it explains what are the options that one can use in the Google Patterns. And these boxes here are the places where you can enter the keywords. And as you enter and you press the tab or the enter key, it will open another text box. And also you can refine your search by listing the date or the priority date. And one can also search by using the inventor's name or the owner of the patent. And of course, you can search through different jurisdiction and based on language as well. Okay, for now, let us get back to the place where we are, which is explaining the Boolean operator. For example, let us take a simple case scenario of cricket bat. For example, if you just search for cricket, and as I mentioned, so this is the search box, the text box where you can enter the keywords. And once you press the tab key, it goes on to the next. So and each of these text boxes are separated by the AND operator. By default, if you enter any keywords into the next text box, those two keywords are joined together by the AND operator. And as you can see that by using cricket and bat, you are getting close to 17,923 hits. So alternatively, if we use cricket or bat, so you can see that this is not highlighted, but cricket, there is an operator here, which is R, whereas each text boxes are separated by AND. And if you want to separate the keywords by using OR operator, all you need to do is keep adding on the keywords within one text box. Whereas if you want to use the AND operator, you have to keep entering the keywords in separate text boxes. So by pressing the enter key, so you could see there are close to 352,000 hits. If you compare this with the keywords that are separated by AND operator, there are only close to 3,371 hits, which pretty much tells you that by using AND operator, you are shortening the scope of the search. Assuming that you are searching for cricket bat in a patent database, it will look for patent documents where cricket and bat are listed within the documents. And by the way, so this the keywords cricket and bat, they'll be searched to the entire patent document, not just in title or abstract. There are ways where you can look up for title or abstract, but I'll get to that part later. And the other option of cricket or bat, where here you are broadening the scope of search. It will look for either the keyword cricket or bat present in the patent databases. And you can see that there are close to 352,000 hits. So it depends on the search that you are running for. Based on that, you have to use the sort of operator that you. For example, here, let's say that we are looking for cricket or bat. Sorry, let me step back. So I've explained you the AND operator and the OR operator. And so when you mention cricket and bat, and there are chances that there could be patent documents where it might be listing out the hockey or the tennis bats as well. But you call usually tennis bats as tennis rackets. But based on jurisdiction, it could be cited as a tennis bat. So to leave out tennis or the hockey, all you need to do is the use of not operator. As I mentioned, not excludes the particular set of keywords from your search list. So for example, if you want to exclude hockey, all you need to do is, as you can see that I've included the minus sign here. So it's going to exclude hockey. So which means it brings down the search results. And also if you want to exclude tennis, so this way you can bring down the search results to a manageable search hits. And also you can get closer to the prior art that you are looking for by excluding, by using the keywords. Great. Okay, so now this was a small detour I took to explain the operators. So we have seen the Boolean operators, and you can see here uh, from this slide that Boolean operator is the same across different databases. And the purpose of using the Boolean operator is always the same in different databases also. And next, move on to the proximity operators. As the name suggests, it looks for keywords that are proximal to one another. Listed are some of the proximity operators across different search databases. Uh, so if you just focus on Google patterns, there are two kinds of operators. One is near, and the next one is ADJ, which means adjacent. But if you look closer, when you use the operator proximity operator near, it searches for n words in any order. For example, if you mention cricket near /5 and bat, it will look for documents. It will search for documents where cricket and bat are present in any order between 5 words to each other, proximal to 5 words to each other. Whereas if you use the adjacent operator by using ADJ/n, similarly, ADJ/n between cricket and bat, it searches for documents within the specific order. For example, if you use cricket adjacent/5 bat, it will search in the order, same order as cricket bat. Whereas if you use the operator near/n, it will look for these two keywords in any order. So by carefully orchestrating these different operators, one can effectively use these operators to get to the prior art that you're looking for. And the next one is the truncation operator, but I'll not get into the details of the other proximity operators that are used in different databases. But pretty much the logic is the same across different operators. Moving on to the truncation operators. So truncation operators are usually used to look for words stemming from a base word. For example, in Google Patterns, used for looking for words 0 or more, use an asterisk or a dollar sign. Let us consider a situation of cricket. Let's say you mention cricket followed by an asterisk symbol. So it will look for anything starting from cricket. It could be a cricket bat, a cricket match, a cricket book, anything related to cricket, which means any word stemming from cricket, it will search for it will search in the database. Whereas if you use 0 to 1, for which you'll be using the question mark, it will specifically look for 0 or 1. The use of this operator can be appreciated if you search for a keyword between the British and the US patent jurisdiction, because in British English you will be using the organize with S, whereas in US one uses the word organize with Z. So if you have to search for these two jurisdictions, all you need to do is in the place of Z or S, if you insert this operator, it will search for both the jurisdiction. So by carefully choosing the right operator, you can look for, you can search for the global patent database. And similarly, one can use 0 to N or exactly 1, which is for which you'll be using the hashtag symbol. Great. So let us transition into the case where let us see how we can effectively use these operators for our test case example, which is a toothbrush example. Okay. So assuming that you just inserted the keyword toothbrush, and pay attention to where you've inserted, where I've inserted the keyword. So it is in the first text box. And by just mentioning this keyword, you're looking at close to 450,000 hits. And what we have to do is we have to get to a manageable search here. And I've already shown you how to extract the keywords for the sample disclosure. And if you look to your right, so I've carefully used specific keywords which are separated by the AND operator, and within the text boxes are using the OR operator. And you could see the difference from the search hits that you can see on the left side to the right. On the left side, you're looking close to 450,000 hits. And by carefully using the operators and the selected keywords, you can bring down to 1,536 hits. So this is a huge difference. And if you look at the bottommost text box, I've used the operator near/5. If you recall, near is a proximity operator where it will search for these two keywords. In this case, push or the toothpaste between 5 words to each other in any order. And if you have to be specific in the order that you're searching for, rather you would use the word adjacent, ADJ/5. So by carefully playing around with these keywords and the operators, you can get to the relevant hits. And you can clearly see that we jump from 450,000 to 1,536 by using this set of operators and keywords shown here. Let us analyze the search results. One is to get down to a manageable search, and the other is finding out if the search hit that you have got is the relevant one or not. So one of the search hits that I've got, assuming that I've done the search for this, is a toothbrush with a toothpaste reservoir. So on the right side is a claim. I'm assuming that those who have taken this course is aware that you're aware about the claim is pretty much the heart of a patent document. It pretty much defines the boundary of the invention. So if I just have to read out the claim to understand if this is a relevant hit, a toothbrush for dispensing a liquid dentifrice contained therein comprising a longitudinal handle having a hollow interior cavity adapted to contain the liquid dentifrice, an open-end in fluid communication with said hollow cavity. So you see that the relevant keywords are highlighted, coupled to said interior cavity at the opposite end to said open end, and the said head region having an upper portion and a lower portion. See, we did not define exactly the head region. So we just mentioned the word head, and it could be either the upper portion or lower portion. That's why it has given us this head. A brush element coupled to said upper portion of the said head region, including a base and plurality of brush. A brush. Okay, so before I don't want to keep reading out the claim. Rather, what we can understand is that it has got everything except the other search terms that we have included here, which is the use of rubber or rubber-like compression material. So by including those, I think I'm missing out one of the slides here. Okay, so by including those keywords, we get to a relevant search hit, and we cannot be sure that this is the search hit that one is looking for. There is always other documents that you might have missed out. So only all we can say is that we can find out one of the prior art hits, not the prior art, and has to keep this in mind. Okay, so let us shift gears and look at. So far, we have seen prior art search based on text by how to extract the keywords from disclosure and how to combine these keywords and string this together using operators in Google Patterns. So there is something called a classification code. Every patent office, a patent classification is a system for examiners of patent offices or other people to categorize documents, such as published patent applications according to the technical features of the content. Patent classifications make it feasible to search quickly for documents about earlier disclosures similar to or related to the invention for which a patent is applied for, and to track technological trends in patent application. So to put that in a simpler words, it is pretty much like the bin where related inventions are placed. For example, if you have to search for cricket bat, all you need to do is go to this classification finder and key in cricket bat, and it will spit out a alphanumeric code. And it is within these alphanumeric codes, or it is within these compartment where any invention related to cricket bats are categorized. Not listening. For how long? For how long?
Just now, some people commented.
Okay, okay. Now I need to know where exactly I have to start from. Maybe if I have to go back.
Same.
Okay, so okay. What I hear is that there's a small technical glitch. Maybe some of you or many of you not able to hear me, but so I can briefly summarize where we are. So the last section we saw how to use Google Patterns, how to use text-based search in Google Patterns. And now we are going to shift gears to look at prior art search using classification codes. And so classification codes are nothing but alphanumeric code. So I was giving a technical definition of what exactly a classification code is. There is a US classification code, and there is something called International Patent Classification Code, and IPC is recognized globally. So these are pretty much like a bin where the related inventions are placed. And I was giving an example as well. So if you're searching for invention related to cricket bat, you have to key in the term cricket bat to find out the bin where inventions related to cricket bat are stored. And this bin, we call it as alphanumeric code. So we'll get to the details of classification codes. So, but they're not able to. Okay, so I'm just hearing that I have to be a little louder. The way that people the volume. Okay. Okay. Great. Okay, so why in the first place we have to look for the classification codes? Sometimes text searches may or may not lead to best hit. By understanding where the related inventions are placed in the classification code, one can look for best prior arts. This can be achieved by combining text and classification codes as explained in this, as shown in this Venn diagram. So by carefully using the text and classification codes, we can get to the really good prior arts. Okay, maybe I missed out
in the introduction part of the slide, where why one has to run this patent search. Patent search usually forms the basis of uh, uh, before filing a patent application or enforcing the patent rights. So one has to do a patent search to find out who are all in the market, whether there are related inventions in the market. Okay, so now getting back to combining text and classification codes. Okay, so going back to our classic example of toothbrush. Um, so by looking at toothbrush, maybe I can show you the IPC side. So we'll take a small detour here. Okay, so this is, so you can search for IPC by clicking the International Patent Classification. You can access the IPC codes. So this is the home page for the IPC classification code. So this is taking little time to load. Just a second. Bear with me. Why this link is not opening? Okay, great. So you could see that the list of alphabets placed here, A, B, C, up to H, across different fields. For example, if you're looking for inventions related to chemistry, so by clicking on this plus button, you can get to the subcategories under which the inventions are stored. For example, any inventions related to inorganic chemistry, they are placed in this bin C01. And by further clicking the plus button, you can get into the subcategories of the inventions. And similarly, for inventions related to combinatorial technologies, chemistries, you can go look at C40. And for biochemistry, you have to click on C12. So this is how you have to navigate to get to the invention, the classification code that you're searching for. Alternatively, you can always search by using a text box. And if you already know the alphanumeric code, uh, you can directly enter the alphanumeric code here. Or if you're not sure of the alphanumeric code, you can always search for it. So in our case, we are searching for a toothbrush. So by Great. So we are looking at A46B. So by clicking on that, it will tell you exactly where the inventions related to toothbrushes are placed. And let us also include a keyword reservoir here. Great. So you can see that by including all these related keywords, I could get to the place exactly where the brushes with reservoir are placed. So it is A46B11 slash forward slash backward slash 00. And in fact, it is 11 slash 04. It's substance that discharged from the reservoir otherwise than by pressure. So by including A46B4 and by including the other related IPC code, I can get to close to 100 results. And this is how you combine the text and classification code. Other thing I missed out explaining is for example, you can see that, yes, Google is a semantic search tool. What it means is that the more you enter the keywords, it anticipates what you are searching for and it prompts you the code you are searching for. In the case here, where I'm looking at cricket and bat, and when I'm excluding hockey or the tennis, just from here, if I press the tab key and I get to the next field, it is prompting me a classification code. It is saying that maybe this is what you are looking for. A63B65/00, which is implements for throwing mechanical projectors or using spring force. Google is an effective search tool, and by using by selecting the best keywords, it will prompt you the related IPC classification code. Let us get back to slides. So I hope I've convinced you with the usage of both the text and classification codes. Now let us look at few working examples. So, okay, here are few examples. I'll take a brief pause here, which I need to search for something. Okay, great. So let us focus on this disclosure. A worker approaches a checkpoint near the entry gate to gain access. The surveillance camera position near the checkpoint identifies the person and scans the ID card worn by the worker. This is followed by a series of checks, including facial recognition, fingerprints, iris recognition, etc. The person is allowed entry only when the ID badge and the biometric data of the person matches the information stored in the database. The person is denied entry if the individual fails in any of the two entry level checks mentioned above. So we'll get to the point of identifying the key features. Uh, uh, the ID badge scanned by a surveillance camera, that is more like the first checkpoint, and the second checkpoint is a biometric such as a facial recognition of fingerprints and other forms of biometrics. And the user is allowed gained access, allowed entry only if one or two matches. Otherwise, they are denied entry into the premises. Now, let us identify what problem this invention is solving. Maybe that will throw more light into the keywords that we are looking for. So the problem this invention, this disclosure is solving is ID card biometric means of access at a checkpoint. And by just mentioning the problem and the solution statement, you can list out the keywords that you need to use. So ID card, the alternate words could be ID badge, identity card, and for biometric, either you can just mention the genus as biometric, or you have to get into the further categories. You can use iris recognition, fingerprint, or surveillance camera, CCTV security camera. So the list can be endless, but you can use the really the closest ones that you are looking for until you're convinced. And how they are solving this problem. So they verify entrance by two levels of security check, either deny or allow access if both of this matches. So which pretty much involves use of verify, check, database, access, allow, or deny. Now let us key in all this into the Google patents. I'm not used to giving a talk and simultaneously typing, so I might take little time. So kindly bear with me. And so let us list out all the keywords that we're looking for: ID badge, identity card, and one thing which I might have missed out explaining is the use of the parentheses, the brackets. Whatever keywords that are enclosed within the brackets are searched together. For example, if you just mention toothbrush within parentheses, it will search for the uh, entire text within the brackets, within the parentheses, within the patent document. So if I enclose ID badge or identity card, it will search for the term identity card or the ID badge per se as mentioned in the patent document. And I'll use the proximity operator here, near 5, and so ID badge has to be scanned. That is the first level of checkpoint, right? So, and if you see that this has to be, so one has to open and close the brackets carefully, otherwise you'll see that the syntax error that might show up, which means that I am not use the okay, let us proceed. I think we should be fine. And then we use the operator same. I don't think I've introduced you to this operator. Same is operator where it searches for words close to 200 words. So whenever, which means close to a paragraph or more than a paragraph. If you're looking for the related keywords, in this case, ID badge or ID card within scan, these words, it should be within 200 words to the word that I'm entering here is the entry grid. So it will search for these two words within the entry grid, and these sets of keywords are separated by 200 words, which is pretty much done by this operator. Same. Gate of the checkpoint, which means I've not used the right sets of. Okay, great. Now you can see that I'm getting close to 2 million hits here. I don't think we have enough time and resources to surf through 200 million documents. So how do we go about this? Um, Best way is to look for the IPC codes. And as I mentioned before, Google is a semantic search tool, and it is prompting me a related IPC classification code. It says that you click on that particular classification code, it tells you uh, exactly what are the invention placed within this alphanumeric code. It says that access control not involving the use of a pass in combination with the ID check by means of a personal physical data. And the other ones are active cards including their own processing means, including IC or chip. So there are closely related classification codes. So I already searched for this. So I'm going to key in the classification code I looked up. Sorry. Okay, so just start a new search here. There are too many words there. So let us start with the keyword that the classification code I identified. Okay, so this is a code where biometrics are related are stored. Maybe I can show you exactly what. So you can directly paste the code. So if you can, I'm not able to scroll beyond this. So it says that security arrangements for protecting computers, uh, programs or data against unauthorized activity using biometric data. So by using that particular code, I can insert that code, and as I mentioned before, I can combine this with the text. And I should be very careful with using the text in combination with IPC, the classification codes. So if you see that already the mention of biometric is in the classification code, or this is more like a gist of the invention stored within this classification code. So you have to exclude whatever that is already mentioned within the classification code. Since it includes biometric data, we have to look anything outside the biometric data because this pretty much covers biometric data. So all I need to include is we have to look at the entry gate or the entry pass, and by using the AND operator. And since we already included the biometric part, we have to look for the ID badge or the ID card option. Yeah. So we got from 2 million hits to 5,000, close to 5,000 hits by carefully using the text. And assuming that, of course, we don't have time to look through this 5,000, but this is a way to get to a refined search list from the broader search list. Great. So let us move on. Same way, let us look at the other example. So I have few sample exercises. So by the time we finish there, it will be close to 1 hour and 15 minutes. And then if time permits, I'll walk you through the path-based database as well. So second disclosure is the system. The system has an access controller with authentication element carried by the user, a vehicle-mounted access control part, and a wireless access authorization communication. Okay, instead of spending time reading out this, I'll briefly take time to explain the key features. The key features here involves access to vehicle from outside by using a wireless mode of communication, and the authentication element user wireless access control communication medium or the location sensor. So what is the problem that this disclosure is solving? So it is vehicle access via authentication element, and the keywords that jumps out are vehicle access, enter authentication element, and you can always look for other related meanings for authenticate, validate, anything that's closer to authentication, and how it is solving the problem. So this is determining whether authorized authentication element is outside the vehicle within the working range of the communication channel. So which means one can use determine identify outside range communication channel. And again, I'm going to spend little time in typing these keywords into the Google patent database. So by at least looking at three cases, I hope I would have convinced you in using Google Patterns database by stringing together the text and the classification codes. Great. So with the keywords in hand, so vehicle access, proximity operator in any order, which is authentication. I'm not going for any fancy words right now. I'm just sticking to the closest word. And again, we look for this choice of operators and use of proximity numbers. You'll gain this experience by practice. And identity. Authentication. So keep an eye on the search results that you are looking at. So we are bringing down the search results as we enter more and more keywords. Okay, so we got to close to 83,000, which is still larger, but the more words you use, you bring down the search hits to a manageable level. And by including the operators, let's say the five, maybe if you're using near slash five, maybe you're looking for keywords that are too far, maybe you can always bring down the hits by looking for either near slash two within two words or three words. So by carefully playing around this, you can definitely minimize the time in searching through a lot of documents. So yeah, I mean, this you can just by looking at the title, you can say that these are related to remote access, remote vehicle access using Wi-Fi means. And of course, by including the classification code, which I've not done in this case, by looking for classification code, you can definitely bring down the search hits here. And let me show with one more example. Just bear with me. Okay, so the third disclosure is a touchscreen wearable computer in the form of wristwatch for transmitting information to your mobile phone. It may support wireless technologies like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And the problem that this disclosure trying to solve is a touchscreen wearable computer for transmitting information. And the keywords can be small, mini wearable electronic device, computer, wristwatch. And how you're solving this? You're solving this by using wireless transmission of information from the wearer of a wristwatch to a mobile phone. And the keywords are wireless, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, transmission, and any related words. Okay, let us get back to Google patterns here. So I have to exclude all of this. So touch screen wearable and if you recall same is operator that used to search for words that are 200 words between 200 words to each other. Okay, so we are getting there with the search results, but let us still throw in more information. So we have not included the mode of communication by which that wristwatch is transmitting information to and where it transmits the information to. So it's transmitting through wireless means. So wireless can take alternate words such as Wi-Fi, or and also it includes Bluetooth. And let us look for this keywords between five words to each other to transmitting this information. And where it is transmitting the information to, it is transmitting the information to a mobile phone. Means that there is mismatch between the number of parentheses I've used and closed. Something wrong here. Sure. Okay. See if the issue was with this text box or the one before this. Okay, this seems to be fine. Okay. Hmm. Transmission same as mobile phone. Okay. Great. So you could see that from the search hits, it is talking about the mobile wireless appliance, and you could see the image of a wristwatch, wearable personal digital device for facilitating mobile device payments. So yeah, I mean, by including few more keywords or the classification codes, you can get to definitely a good prior art hit. So yeah, so the related classification codes, it's saying based on the keywords that we used in the two text boxes, it prompts portable telephones adapted for hands-free use. So great. So hope that these three disclosures convince you in using, and I hope you use Google Patterns uh, on your daily basis, other than using the non-patent literature documents for which you are using the other databases. Uh, the other thing that I wanted to spend time on is using the Indian Patent Office database. So And so this is the homepage for the IPO office. So by clicking on patents, you can get to this window where you can do a lot of things. And by clicking on the application status and getting to patent search, you can get to this window where you can enter keywords to search for invention uh, within India. And on the left side, you could see the different text boxes with the related fields. You can search across these different fields, and you can either search it in a published or a granted document. And on the right hand side, on the rightmost corner, you could see that each of the text box could be separated by the Boolean operator. For example, let us just take a simple scenario of toothbrush, which we have been looking at. Toothbrush, and if you want to look for toothbrush along with uh, reservoir, and let us assume a date 2002 October. So it will search for published documents uh, within abstracts, and the keywords that it will search for toothbrush and reservoir, and these two keywords, uh, they must be present within the abstract in order to be picked up by the database. HTX4. Great. So there are totally 18 documents. So this is the way, if you are very particular about the Indian patent database, you can visit the IPO website. But this may not be as robust as the Google patents. The database is far more with respect to the number of patent documents. Whereas here, you're only looking at few databases, and the more the fields you enter, invariably you'll end up with zero results. So ideally, I would look up Google patents and then come to the Indian Patent Office. And also one more thing which I need to show you is the application status. For example, the format is already shown. If you have a Indian patent application and you would like to know the status of the Indian patent application, you can enter the application number here, and it will show you the status, uh, uh, where exactly the patent document is, which stage of the prosecution the document is in. Great. So we are 1 hour into the lecture, and maybe I'll spend another 15 or 20 minutes. I pretty much I covered everything that I have to explain for. And let me take. Yes, yes. I'll look for that. Okay. So I mentioned a search database. Other than Google Patterns, there are lot many search databases, but they are paid databases. So, but it comes with more scope than what you get in Google Patterns. So here, for example, I can explain. You see, okay. Let me explain. On how to use the pad base. So this is the main window of pad base, and you can always display our search options. So this is paid. So this is offered by a company named Mindsoft, and this is on few lakhs you have to invest on to use this database. But this is a good database to use, and I'll convince you on how good this database in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Uh, and you can d- default sorry you can always modify the display options here by clicking on menu, and by clicking on display options, you can either search for the keywords within the full text, the claims or title abstract, or the title or abstract. So I would let it to search it in the full text, and you can always uh, control the default sorting order, how you want the search results, whether it's in the publication descending or the ascending order. And you can always change the display format. Either you want a classic display format, or you just need a bibliographic information, or just the images, or you can always fine tune exactly what you want to look for. And by clicking on the custom display options, you can customize it the way you want by either if you're just interested in looking at the title or the owner of the patent or the claims or the abstract, you can click those options to refine your search results that way. By clicking on other options, you can always customize it by clicking on these two boxes. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that none of you have accessed this database, but all I can do is I'll just walk you through this database to show how you can run a search on Padbase. And search form. So as I mentioned, you can always change the text field where you want to search. You can either search in the full text. So let us bring back the classic case of cricket bat. Great. So you could see that FT means the full text. And if you are specific about searching within the title, you can always mention by using the keyword TI. And if you're searching for a claim, you can mention CL. And so this gives the search options. By clicking on view, you can see that it highlights. The highlighted tool is amazing in aspect to the pad based. And by clicking on, so these are, for example, this is one of the search hits, one of the searches out of 584. And for each patent document, it gives you an option of finding out similar patterns. For example, if you click similar, it will tell you exactly if you're looking for similar patterns with respect to the title or the claims or the description. And if you're looking at a foreign patent, it will translate the document for you. And by clicking on this, it will tell you the information. And the great highlighter tool is amazing in Padbase. For example, by clicking that one highlighting, you can include different keywords to be shown in the document. Let's input a few more words and we'll grip. So this highlighter tool is visually appealing. So you don't have to randomly search for keywords within the document. It pretty much display this based on different colors. So you could see that cricket bat and the keyword that I've used here are shown. So this is visually catchy. So you don't have to spend much time on reading through the document. Rather, you use appropriate keywords with different color codes. You can just quickly catch those keywords within the document. And also, it can give you information on the legal status of the patent. Uh, for example, this patent, I think this is a Brit patent, and so this patent is granted, and it is granted up to the term of a patent 2025. So you can get a legal status on every patent document, and also citations. These are classic tools that one can use. This is useful for advanced searcher uh, to find out if there are any other patents that cites this particular patent, or uh, any patents that is included, or any reference patent that is included within this patent. So a lot more can be done with Padbase. And for example, one can run a Padbase analytics. This is a classic tool where you can look for information, the global information, the how many patents that are filed related to cricket bats, and what are the classification codes, and who are the inventors globally. So it displays this information in a nice fancy chart. So great. So, and if I have to click one of these options, so this is in respect to the classification codes. It's taking a while. So in a nutshell, so all I want to explain is that Padbase, it can be used by advanced, it can be used by a patent analyst to dig out more information related to patent, uh, be it any part of the prosecution, right from the filing patent application where you'll be doing a patentability search to enforcing patent rights, where you'll be looking at validating or invalidating other patents. So anything can be done, and everything can be done uh, by from filing off till enforcing patent rights by using a good search tool. And good search tool, Google Patents, is very good to start with, to begin with. And if you're really interested, you can always use the advanced search tool options like Packbase or other related database which I've mentioned in the slides. So with that, I hope I've covered at least the basics of patent search. And if you have any particular question, comments. Okay, they've included the comments. Okay, so I also, I'm informed here that the questions will be forwarded to the forum where we'll take time in answering your questions. And if you have anything else, okay. With that, I'll close this session, and thank you all for joining me.